Hi, my name is Dan Hohenstein, and this is my final budget report for EDU 528, Financing the Athletics and Activities Program. Just to take a quick look back at the budget that we are using, Kirkwood High School will be using the combination budget. This is one of the most common models to provide general support for an athletic budget from tax revenue, ticket sales, or tuition sources. We will be using a $100,000 budget, which is coming from the taxpayer dollars. We will receive additional funds from fundraisers and the help of PBI, which is our Pioneer Boosters Club. And then we will also raise some money through ticket sales at the gate of events. This $100,000 budget that we will be using today is strictly taxpayers' dollars. We will have additional funds that can be used throughout each program at a later date when we receive those funds. So here we take a look at our next slide, and we will be diving right into the budget. With our $100,000 budget, we have set aside $32,000 for officials. As you can see, we have divvied that up across the 14 sports because cheerleading does not require officials. Some sports may require more officials or have more games, so that money can be slid around. But we do have an entire budget of $32,000 for officials, which leaves us in a remaining budget of $68,000 for equipment, jerseys, and other things that our programs will need. So of that remaining $68,000, I have divided that by 15 and spread it out evenly among all sports that are listed here. We will take a look at each sport individually after this slide, but this is just an overall overview of everything that has been divvied up. One of the tougher things when it comes to a budget is there are sports programs that obviously require a little bit more equipment because they do have more athletes in their program. For instance, when you look at a track team compared to a softball team, there's going to be a lot more athletes for the track program. So, with that being said, it is kind of tough to say, oh, these two programs that have nowhere near the same amount of athletes get the same amount of budget. So there is a little room for wiggle room. I know some programs are requesting more. Some programs requested not a whole lot at all. So we're able to move these budgets around to make sure that everybody is hopefully getting at least what they need, if not what they want as well. It may not look super fair that football is getting almost $3,000 more than their budget, and then boys soccer is not spending nearly the amount of the budget that they have. But we have kept track of this, and we will make sure that on another year, if soccer needs more money, we can slide some into their account. I have also put the jersey rotation. This is important because you do not want to have to purchase jerseys for every program the same year because that would not leave any money for other equipment. Obviously, if there are changes, whether it's MISHA or NFHS that require jersey changes, we will make those accommodations. But otherwise, these jerseys will be replaced on this rotation. First, here we have girls lacrosse, and you can tell some of the items have been, or all the items have been highlighted in green. You will see in the slides moving forward, green means that it has been approved. If you see the color yellow, that means it has been modified or revised, and we've made accommodations. And red, unfortunately, means it has not been approved, and I have kind of I'll give an explanation as to why that is. When it comes to girls lacrosse, as you can see, their items needed / wanted came in under budget, so it's very easy to make that decision when they're spending less than they are given. But it is still important to take a look at what they want because some things may not be needed or can be pushed off for another year so that other programs may possibly get something that they need this coming year. Next, we have boys volleyball. I have approved all their items needed except for their backpacks. This item we will either use PBI money to purchase or we may have to ask the athletes to spend money and then they would be able to keep the backpack, or we will use this money next year to get the all team the backpacks. Like girls lacrosse, cheer made it very easy for us as well as they came in under budget. roughly around $150 under budget, so this was an easy decision for us to make. Boys soccer, again, came under budget by quite a bit. Some people may say, though, that why do these teams get team bags and t-shirts and other items, yet other programs are being modified or not allowed to purchase these items? One reason is because they are very much under budget, and they are not in need of other equipment, so they are able to use some of their budget for bags and t-shirts, unlike the other programs. Some programs may not need as much equipment next year, so they can use their budget on team bags and t-shirts like soccer did. Here we have softball, and as you can tell, they are not on the rotation of jerseys this year, so they were able to spend all of their budget on other equipment such as softballs, helmets, backpacks, and things like that. They came under budget by quite a bit, so everything has been approved for the softball team this year. Next, we have the baseball team, and as you look at this presentation so far, you may think this was an easy decision for every team, but it is actually not the case. A few sports you will notice coming up have a lot of yellow and red, but for baseball, their budget was actually very cheap this year. They have a lot of things on a 2 or 3, 4 year cycle, just like jerseys, and this year it just so happened that they did not require a lot of equipment, but in the next couple of years, they may need a little bit more than the budget is allocated for their specific baseball program. Next, we have the girls basketball program. I did make a modification for the backpacks that they requested. The original price was $1,200, and I've lowered that to $600. What we will need to do for the remaining $600 is either have a fundraiser, ask for student athletes to pay $20 each, or if we have PBI money left over, we would be able to fund the rest of this. But for now, we have lowered the cost for these backpacks when it comes to tax revenue dollars and our budget. Like I mentioned before, it may not seem fair that some teams are getting backpacks and hoodies and warm-ups and things of those nature. For instance, wrestling, I modified their warm-up or hoodie that they would like to get in addition to their backpack. Again, this could possibly come out of PBI money. The wrestling program could hold a fundraiser, or we could ask students to pay for these items. Unfortunately, it is a year for the wrestling program to get new uniforms, so they are, as you can see, are spending a good portion of their budget on new uniforms this year. Looking at the field hockey wish list, they are on rotation for new jerseys. So one thing that I asked the field hockey program to do was to push off getting new practice jerseys until next year, along with game day warm-ups. So we're going to continue to use the equipment that they have in regards to those items, but we will be replacing their game day jerseys. Also, I noticed that they requested new goals, which we have current goals, and just like jerseys, they do need to be replaced. This item will be replaced next year and is part of their budget since they will not be having to spend funds on new jerseys. Again, it's kind of that rotation where some years you just have to spend certain of your budget on certain items because the way it works. On to our next sport, where we have boys and girls track. Here you will see a lot of red and think that they aren't getting a lot of what they're asking for, but we are actually putting their budgets together and purchasing some of the girls' wish lists with boys' money and so forth. They are on a rotation of new jerseys, so both the boys and girls track team will be getting new jerseys. So we have pushed off warm-ups, and we also pushed back a starter system, but the starter system we actually purchased with the girls' track team money. We are asking for to either a fundraiser, possible PBI money, or just pushing back new warm-ups until next year because we do have to purchase new jerseys. Track is one of those sports that can be a little tricky though. Just like football, you quite possibly could have a very large track team. So we have purchased a certain amount of jerseys that we know will be used on meet days. The other thing is things like shot put and discus and javelin. There are different sizes for girls and boys. So we did approve those on both sides, but things like batons and stopwatches and cones and agility ladders, pennant rope, those things that can be used for both sides, we purchased with one, and then we used a thing like starter system with the girls track team budget. Again, just like the boys said, we will not be purchasing warm-ups. That can be a fundraiser, or we could use PBI money. A lot of these things you'll notice, although they seem like they did not get, we just used the boys funds for these items. Similar to girls basketball, we have boys basketball. There are some needs, such as new basketballs, because of Misha and the ball that they require. We did approve most of this, and I know it seems like it's coming in under budget, and we did not approve backpacks. We had to, so we had need some needs on other sports, so we will be using PBI money to purchase backpacks for the players. So I don't want it to seem like we're not giving them all of their budget. Here we have women's soccer. I did go ahead and approve everything that they asked for, except for uniforms. I made a note that we will be purchasing new uniforms next year when they are on rotation. Next, we have football. Even I thought of this early on when I was coaching: is why does football get so much money compared to other sports programs? They do have quite a bit of people on their teams. In addition, we do charge at the gate for football, so some of that money goes back into the budget and back to the football program. That being said, they are over budget, but there are two things that we're going to be using PBI money or money raised from the gates to purchase. Those two items being the shoulder pads and the travel bags. Shoulder pads will definitely be purchased for safety reasons. Travel bags, we will see how much money we have left over, and we will possibly get that with either a fundraiser, PBI money, or gate money. Last but not least is the girls volleyball program. I have approved all of their items requested. They came in slightly over budget, but everything I thought was a necessity for this upcoming athletic year. Thanks again for listening and watching my final presentation on my final budget report. Again, this is EDU 528 for William Woods. Thank you and have a great day.